May 25th, 2005, Istanbul. A date that remains one of the greatest in football history. The Ataturk Olympic Stadium became the stage for a miracle, a spectacle so incredible it still defies belief. This wasn't just a football match. It was a battle for redemption, the triumph of hope over despair, and the unwavering spirit of a captain who refused to give in. Liverpool Football Club is one of the most storied institutions in world football. Throughout the 70s and 80s, the Reds were a force to be reckoned with. Under the stewardship of legendary managers like Bill Shankly, Bob Paisley and Joe Fagan, they dominated English and European football, lifting 4 European Cups in a golden era. Liverpool's success during those years wasn't just about trophies, it was about identity. They were more than a football club. They were a symbol of working-class pride and resilience. Anfield became a fortress, and the Kop, with its iconic banners and unrelenting passion, was an unshakable pillar of belief. But by the 1990s, things had changed. While Liverpool remained competitive, their golden touch seemed to fade. Manchester United surged ahead under Sir Alex Ferguson, and Arsenal, Chelsea and other challengers emerged as dominant forces in English football. By 2005, Liverpool fans were clinging to memories of their past glories. Their last league title came in 1990, and their most recent European triumph was 21 years earlier in 1984. A generation of fans had grown up hearing stories of greatness, but not experiencing it themselves. Steven Gerrard, born and raised in Merseyside, was one of these fans. Growing up idolising the likes of Kenny Dalglish and Graham Souness, Gerrard had lived the Liverpool dream. By 2005, he wasn't just the team's captain, he was its heart and soul. The 2004 to 2005 season was a roller coaster for Liverpool. Under new manager Rafa Benitez, the Reds were struggling for consistency in the Premier League, ultimately finishing 5th behind their bitter local rivals Everton, and domestically it was a disappointing campaign. However, the Champions League provided a lifeline, a stage for Liverpool to rediscover their magic. Even nowadays, with questions about the Anfield atmosphere, it's always been said by ex-players and fans that the stadium on European nights still remains second to none. Liverpool's European campaign was a story of grit and drama. The Reds had a mixed start. A 2-0 win against Monaco at Anfield showcased their potential, but losses to Olympiacos and Monaco away left them on shaky ground. By the time they reached the final group game, Liverpool needed to beat Olympiacos by 2 clear goals to advance. That night at Anfield was unforgettable. Rivaldo's first-half free-kick gave Olympiacos the lead, leaving Liverpool needing 3 goals. Florent Sinama-Pongol and Neil Melo struck to bring Liverpool back, but they still needed one more. With the clock ticking down, who else but Steven Gerrard unleashed a stunning 25-yard strike that thundered into the net, sending the Kop into raptures. Liverpool were through. Gerrard later said that goal kept our dream alive. After easing past Bayer Leverkusen in the round of 16, in the quarter-finals, they stunned Juventus, the Italian giants, totalling a 2-1 score on aggregate with a spirited performance at Anfield, which is where all the goals of the tie came from. The semi-finals brought an even bigger test, Chelsea, their domestic rivals. The infamous ghost goal by Luis Garcia proved decisive despite Chelsea onslaughts after the early goal, sending Liverpool to their first Champions League final in 20 years. This was helped massively by the Anfield faithful. Gerrard has even said since that night was the best atmosphere he'd ever witnessed at the ground. Little did they know, the greatest chapter was still to come. Now they stood on the brink of history. But their opponents, AC Milan, represented the ultimate challenge. If Liverpool were steeped in history, AC Milan were the embodiment of European excellence. With 6 European Cups to their name, the Rossoneri had built a legacy of dominance. By 2005, they were seen as the pinnacle of footballing sophistication. Their team was a dream lineup. Paolo Maldini, their eternal captain, was the cornerstone of their defence. At 36 years old, he was already a legend, having lifted the European Cup 5 times. His calm authority and tactical brilliance made him a leader without equal. Supporting Maldini was a defensive lineup for the ages. Alessandro Nesta, a master of timing and positioning. Cafu, the marauding Brazilian right-back. And Jaap Stam, a towering presence. This backline was nearly impenetrable. Milan's midfield was a symphony of skill and balance. Andrea Pirlo orchestrated play with his effortless passing, Gennaro Gattuso provided tenacity and steel, and Clarence Seedorf offered elegance and experience. But the jewel in their crown was Kaká. The young Brazilian playmaker was at the peak of his powers, combining speed, vision, and flair to devastating effect. Up front, they boasted 2 of the most clinical finishers in world football, Hernan Crespo and Andriy Shevchenko. Shevchenko, the reigning Ballon d'Or winner, was a striker who could score from anywhere. The Reds lineup, however, was a mix of solid but not exceptional players and young talents still finding their feet in the European spotlight. In goal, Jerzy Dudek was not considered a top-tier goalkeeper compared to Milan's Dida, who was widely regarded as one of the best at the time. Dudek had a solid reputation in the Premier League, but lacked the aura of a world-class shot-stopper. At the back, while Sami Hyypiä was a stalwart, players like Jamie Carragher, Jimmy Traore and John Arne Riise weren't viewed as elite defenders. They were often prone to mistakes, and it seemed unlikely that they could withstand the attacking power of Milan. The midfield was built around the heart and soul of the team, Steven Gerrard, but beyond him, the options were thin. Xabi Alonso was an emerging talent, but this was only his first season at Liverpool. Dietmar Hamann, though a solid defensive midfielder, lacked the flair of Milan's Pirlo. Meanwhile, in attack, Liverpool's leading man, Milan Baros, was still struggling to find consistent form. So, Milan entered the final as heavy favourites. They had the pedigree, the talent, and the momentum. Even Kaká admitted years later, "We thought we couldn't lose. On paper, we were the stronger team." The Ataturk Olympic Stadium in Istanbul was alive with energy on the night of May 25, 2005. 70,000 fans packed the stands, with both sets of fans out in force. The travelling cop, draped in red scarves, sang "You'll Never Walk Alone" as the players lined up. But less than a minute after kick-off, Pirlo delivered a free kick into the Liverpool penalty area. The ball floated perfectly to Paolo Maldini, who connected with a crisp volley. Jerzy Dudek, Liverpool's goalkeeper, had no chance. 49 seconds into the game, Milan were 1-0 up. The goal stunned Liverpool. Milan, meanwhile, buoyed by their perfect start, tightened their grip on the game. Their passing was precise, their movements fluid. Liverpool, in contrast, looked disjointed. Then, in the 39th minute, Milan doubled their lead. Shevchenko found space on the right and delivered a cross to Crespo, who tapped in from close range. Liverpool's defence was falling apart. And then, just before half-time, Milan delivered a hammer blow. Kaká picked up the ball in midfield and unleashed a moment of brilliance, a perfectly weighted pass which split Liverpool's defence, and Crespo raced into it. With a delicate chip, he lifted the ball over Dudek and into the net. 3-0. Liverpool were being humiliated. As the half-time whistle blew, Liverpool fans sat in stunned silence. Their dream seemed over. Milan had put on a masterclass, showcasing their superiority. In the Milan dressing room, the mood was celebratory. Kaká later admitted, "At half-time, we thought the game was done. We were already celebrating." But in the Liverpool dressing room, Rafa Benitez was preparing to do the impossible. The half-time team talk is the stuff of legend. Benitez, known for his calm demeanour, addressed his players with clarity and purpose. He made crucial tactical changes, bringing on Dietmar Hamann to shore up midfield and switching to a three-man defence. But the emotional leadership came from Steven Gerrard. The captain, devastated but defiant, rallied his teammates. He demanded belief and urged them to fight for pride, for the fans and for the badge. Xabi Alonso later recalled, "Steven told us, we can't go out like this. This is Liverpool. We have to fight." He made us believe. As the players returned to the pitch, the Liverpool fans rose to their feet and again sang "You'll Never Walk Alone" with unshakable conviction. Their voices echoed around the stadium, a beacon of hope in the darkness. Gerrard later said, "Hearing the fans gave us the strength to keep going. We couldn't let them down." The second half began with Liverpool showing renewed energy. They pressed higher up the pitch, disrupted Milan's rhythm, and fought for every ball, led by Gerrard after some crunching tackles. In the 54th minute, their persistence paid off. John Arnorisa delivered a cross into the box, and Steven Gerrard rose above the Milan defenders. His header flew into the net, and the Liverpool fans erupted. Gerrard turned to the crowd, arms raised, imploring them to believe, and maybe trying to help himself to believe too. 2 minutes later, Vladimir Smicer, playing his final game for Liverpool after admitting to wanting to leave the club after the season, put all that aside and struck from distance. His low, driven shot skidded past Dida and into the bottom corner. Suddenly, it was 3-2. Milan, so composed in the first half, looked shaken. And Liverpool weren't done yet. In the 60th minute, Gerrard surged into the penalty area and was brought down by Gattuso. The referee pointed to the spot. Xabi Alonso stepped up to take the penalty. Dida saved the penalty, but Alonso smashed the rebound into the roof of the net. Red-wearing fans went from despair to jubilation in a matter of 1 second. In the span of 6 minutes, Liverpool had done the unthinkable. They had levelled the score at 3-3. Gerrard would later say, "When the third went in, I felt something I'd never felt before. I believed we were destined to win." With the scores tied, the match became a gruelling battle. Milan pushed forward, desperate to reclaim control, while Liverpool defended with everything they had. Gerrard, now playing as a makeshift right-back, threw himself into tackles, intercepted passes, and urged his teammates to dig deeper. Jamie Carragher, cramping badly, fought through the pain to keep Milan at bay. In the dying moments of extra time, Shevchenko had a golden opportunity to win it for Milan. From point-blank range, he unleashed a powerful shot, but Dudek produced a miraculous double save. It was a moment that defied belief. After 120 minutes of drama, it all came down to penalties. The tension was unbearable. Dudek, channeling Bruce Grobbelaar's wobbly legs routine from the 1984 final, used every trick in the book to unsettle Milan's players. Serginho blasted his penalty over the bar. Pirlo's attempt was saved, and Dudek's mind games grew more pronounced with every kick. For Liverpool, Hamann, Cisse and Smicer all converted their penalties with nerves of steel. The decisive moment arrived with Milan's final penalty. Andriy Shevchenko, the reigning Ballon d'Or winner, stepped up. The world held its breath. As Shevchenko struck the ball, Dudek guessed correctly, diving to his right and palming the shot away. Liverpool had done it. Against all odds, they were the champions of Europe. The scenes that followed were unforgettable. Steven Gerrard, clutching the iconic trophy, lifted it high into the Istanbul night as red confetti rained down. The Liverpool players, exhausted and emotional, celebrated with their fans, who I'm sure would say they never stopped believing. However, this is hard to believe considering the dire situation they saw before them at half-time. For Gerrard, it was the crowning achievement of his career. "This is the proudest moment of my life," he said afterward. "We were dead and buried, but we came back because of the fans, because of belief, because of Liverpool. Liverpool's victory that night was more than a footballing triumph. It was a miracle. It was a story of resilience, courage, and the power of the human spirit. Steven Gerrard had delivered one of the greatest performances in the history of the game. He didn't just inspire his teammates, he inspired millions around the world. That night in Istanbul, Gerrard proved that no obstacle is insurmountable, no challenge too great, if you believe.